Key is in. Let's turn it to on. No way.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're back to work on the burnt Brutale.
We are starting off on a good note. We have a ton of key components for the Brutale.
And all of these components are very expensive, but I found them on eBay from a seller, Moto Parts.
Moto Parts is a seller from the United Kingdom who just so happened to be tearing down a 2021 Brutale RS.
I personally got in contact with Tim, who is the owner of Moto Parts. Tim, if you're watching this, thank you.
Tim hooked me up with some amazing parts for a smoking sweet deal. So we've got an ABS module for the bike for a fraction of the price. Gas cap with keys, a seat lock, and an ignition module, but I mainly bought this package right here for this ignition module. If mine ends up not working out, you know exactly what we're gonna do. They even sent over the nice little foam case for the keys, which is honestly something I didn't expect. Next, we have the Öhlins steering dampener, which is electronic, which goes perfectly with our Öhlins MV Agusta electronic suspension module. Then we have one of the most crucial parts I was looking for, the coil packs. These coil packs were stupid expensive online from MV Agusta, but Tim hooked me up with all four for a killer price. My old ones, yeah. We can't run that. Now, interestingly enough, when I look up the part number for these coil packs, which you can barely read on my old ones, I looked that up online and nothing was popping up on eBay. And when I found these coil packs on Moto Parts, these were actually under a different part number than this part number right here. So the only way I found these was actually looking at the photos online and seeing that they had the same part number as my coil packs.
When you guys are looking for parts, it pays to check out the photos and read that part number.
And lastly, we have a rear master cylinder for the rear brake. That even came with a reservoir.
Now, you guys want to hear something really sad? Tim had a fuel pump for the Brutale 1000 RR, but it got stopped at the border. Now, all these parts from Tim and the team at Moto Parts on eBay are from the United Kingdom, so they had to come overseas and they had to go through the global shipping program to be allowed into the United States. At the border, they must scan the products coming through to see if there's any hazardous material, and they found petrol in the fuel pump and they threw it away.
So unfortunately, we would have had a fuel pump here, but it's gone and I'm never getting it back. All right, let's install these coil packs.
Well, we do have our new brake system installed on the Brutale, but I did mess up.
One of these lines going to this hole right here has a bleeder on it, and I didn't realize this when I was ordering the lines from ProBrake. This middle line should have a breather on it for this ABS module, which I have never seen before, so I'm gonna need to reorder a line with this proper fitting. But before we did that, we installed these beautiful coil packs, and man, that red looks so good on top of the valve cover. And I did check, these plugs work perfectly with the coil pack plugs, so they are a perfect fit. As well as the ABS connector, which is on this Nürburgring harness, which works perfectly on the ABS module we got secondhand. Something cool I noticed was inside this ABS module, the brake fluid has turned into a solid with all of that heat, and that is something I have never seen before.
And now, since we have all of the original keys from the previous owner, Brian, let's start messing with our ignition modules.
So we switched out our ignition module onto our old cylinder, which works with the original key, on, off. And here's the old one. Now, I'm not sure if these are programmed specifically to the bike's ECU, but we'll figure that out eventually. Next, we installed the headlight, got rid of that blue tape on the front and these brackets, which hold everything in the front together, including the carbon pieces on top. And we installed our steering dampener, which is electronic. Here's the old one, and if you ever wanted to know what's inside of that plug, that's essentially what it looks like. And surprisingly, this one is still good. It does have the seals on both sides and it moves with resistance, so the insides didn't get toasted on this. But we needed to replace it anyway, and it works perfectly. Now we also routed the cables inside of the forks because that's how it's actually supposed to be. If you look at any of these other bikes, they all route in front of the fork and down the center of the frame. Like on the RRR, on the ZX10, and on the Aprilia, which makes much more sense because then the plugs are right here and accessible for the wiring harness. Now next, these pieces are what the throttle body slips onto, and these bolt directly to the engine right on top there. But as you can see, these are pretty damaged, and these are 100 English pounds. So I've been trying to find secondhand ones on eBay, but I can't find them anywhere. So we'll have to run these for now. But before we install those and slip those throttle bodies on the bike, here's the ECU Brian gave us, which is the stock ECU. Now here is something very special from Evolution Bike. Here we have an ECU. Now this may just look like a normal ECU, but this is a special race ECU directly for the Nürburgring edition. Now something even cooler with this ECU is Evolution Bike tunes these to run on petrol, not 91 like we have here in the US. Overseas, the ethanol content in fuel is actually way better than the fuel here in the US. Now what Evolution Bike did for me was they tuned this ECU to run on 91 American fuel for free. So this is plug and play, and now this bike has the 201 bhp fully unlocked. Now let's keep installing these electronics because my goal is to try and put some power to this dash and get it to turn on. Well, our wiring journey continues. According to the engine workshop manual on this Brutale, this harness actually is supposed to have a loop on each side because there's no clearance on the frame to the throttle bodies. So the wiring loom has this horseshoe that actually clips to the side of the top of the airbox. It's that way on both sides. I just haven't routed these underneath the airbox yet. We installed our steering dampener, which I think is facing the correct direction according to some videos online. ECU, throttle bodies connected, injectors 1, 2, 3, and 4, along with the coil packs, which you can't see, plus this plastic under tray, which starts to give the bike a little bit of shape.
We are going to take a very short break and open a special package.
This box is from Daisuki Racing. They have a ton of motorcycle parts on their website. Let me show you what we got. KYT Helmet, world-class racing motorcycle helmet. Here are 2 fog-resistant lenses, sweet, plus a couple screen visors. Oh, that is sick. Here it is, our KYT TT Corsa racing helmet. Man, this thing was pretty sick. Pretty sweet design on the outside, and it's very nice and light. Now let's change out that visor. Here's the old one. We are visorless right now. Now we're gonna open one of our colored visors. Oh yeah, we got the mirror chrome. Let's open one of these, slap it on the mirror chrome visor. Here we go, here's our fog resistant shield. And there we are. Seal is on the bottom side, and there we are peeling off the cover. Sick. That is gonna look so good. We got the right side in. There's the left side. That is a killer looking helmet. Let's try it on. Whoa. Good angle too. And that feels great. Holy buns. Alright, enough playing around.
Definitely check out Daisuki Racing. They've got a ton of KYT helmets and they're very well priced.
And I do have another one of these on the way. It's a different style. Can't wait to show you guys when that bad boy comes in. The bikes are looking good tonight.
Okay, time for a haircut. There we go.
Back to work. This is the crankshaft position sensor, and on the end here is a magnet which reads those teeth which you just saw on the crankshaft.
All right, man, we are cooking through all this wiring.
Painting some brackets that were all rusty and burnt up, including the bracket for the rectifier, which is mounted to the radiator. And earlier you guys saw me order connectors for the stator right here and for this suspension module, which is still good. And it's a waste to get a whole new one just for a connector when I can easily repin it.
All this time I'm spending on the wiring harness is actually super helpful because I'm really understanding where everything goes, what plugs into what, and how it routes.
We also installed our new crankshaft position sensor, which we already have plugged in back there to the harness. This connector is for the stator, which we have a connector on order for. Quick shifter, kickstand sensor, starter relay. Now, as you can see, our burn pile is getting pretty small. I consolidated a lot of the old burnt parts in that bag, parts we can't use over there. And we have our fender guard, the exhaust, and a bunch of other random miscellaneous pieces. But we are getting down to the goodies. Here we have the engine workshop manual on a CD, but I do have it in PDF form already. But I am still needing to order a cable that runs from the relay directly to the starter down there, as well as a ground cable which grounds out to the engine block here and connects to the battery, which sits right in this plastic piece which we installed previously. Now let's bring out our dash and plug it in, even though we still can't turn this on. Here's the connector for the dash. It plugs perfectly in. I'm really hoping this dash will work with the condition of the underside. Like mentioned previously, I need a separate Öhlins suspension harness for the Öhlins module on the bike, along with the suspension harness for the front forks, which plugs in directly on the top of the fork. And lastly, the lambda sensor or O2 sensor and the quick shifter harness, which runs through here as well. And boom, just like that, our connectors we ordered are in. Let's put these together. All right, we are back at the shop.
Here we have our new stator connector with leads that we're gonna splice right in. All right, this is the big moment.
We took this battery cable from a Brutale 800 and swapped it over to our starter relay, even though this is the wrong cable for my 1000. And we took the old ground cable from my Aprilia RSV4 and wired that up, put a fitting on it, and connected it to the engine block down there. We've got a full lithium battery. This was from the R1M. Like you guys saw, we did have a spark when we attached the power cable to the battery. So we do have a complete circuit. Now we are missing a lot of relays, so I'm not sure if the dash will turn on, but let's give it a shot. Dash is plugged in. We supposedly have power to the bike. Here is the key. All right, key is in. Let's turn it to on. No way, bro. What? So we're in. It says insert pin code. And it's got like a little key motorcycle emblem right there. Let's go find the package Brian sent out to me and get this pin code. The dash works. All right, so I found the code card Brian gave to me, and on the back, there is a mechanical code, an electronic code, and a serial number. We're gonna take this tape off the electronic code and see how many digits it is. I think they're asking for a certain amount of digits, 9 digits. And we're also going to need to plug in this handlebar switch, which is right down here if we're gonna want to enter any digits into the dash.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think right now we're in the programming process of programming a new ignition module to our old cylinder.
This was the old ignition module that I removed from the ignition cylinder, and a used one is currently installed on it. Okay, this is the first time this card has ever been out. Let's scratch this off. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be showing you guys this, but oh well. So our electronic code is 7091, and our mechanical code is Z8480. Now, both of those numbers combined is 9 digits. Do I enter both of those?
I just gave Brian, the original owner of this Brutale, a text. Let's see what he says.
I hope this doesn't lock me out, but let's try all 9 of these digits on top. And yeah, we gotta plug this in first real quick. Let's try it. It's a 4-digit pin code. I don't know how to read. Okay, it's a 4-digit. You see that? 1, 2, 3, 4. I was looking at the bottom. Never mind. So let's enter 7091. See what happens. We'll go to the 7, 7, 0, 9. Our last one, 1. Wrong. Oh no.
Well, we tried our 7091 pin code. I wonder if that used ignition module, which we have installed right now, is tied to a different pin code. That would be unfortunate.
I definitely don't want to lock us out of this dash, but should we try 8480? The Z is not an option on the dash, so technically this is another 4-digit pin. Let's try 8480. Wrong. Dang, we are 0 for 2. I wonder, this is a race dash. Does this come with a pin code on the top? There's a code there. Let's take a look at this thing. Well, we have a 4720, but I doubt the ECU stores any immobilizer data. On all of the newer bikes, the immobilizer data is stored either in the dash or in this ignition module. I'm just not sure. There was a message on the beginning of the dash. It said hold enter to enter the menu. So we're gonna hold it, hold enter to main menu page. Oh, I did something. Please service SCU, ABS, headlamp, IMU, and GPS. Okay, so I guess we kind of made it out of that pin code thing, but the key motorcycle light is still on the dash, so I believe we still have to enter that pin eventually. I am just amazed that this dash is currently functioning right now.
Well, I did some research online and some forums were saying this is the correct pin code to enter the 7091 for my bike because this is the card that came with the bike.
All right, here's my theory. Since this is a used ignition module, it is tied to a different pin code and the original ignition module would work with my electronic code.
So I think we're gonna give this a shot and try to rewire this and then plug it in.
We have some wires to work with, but easier said than done. Our very first power on of the Brutale, I would call that a success.
So we will catch you guys in the next one. See ya. Whoa, hold up. Brian just texted me 3 codes to try.
Brian said the first one is 1866. 1866. Wrong. Next one. The next one is 0925. 0925. All right, and the last one from Brian is 0971. Well, appreciate it, Brian.
All right, bonus content time for you guys.
So we have all the bikes for sale, and today the 848 is getting picked up. This 2010 848 has 7,800 miles.
Along with new belts and the Desmo service all done. Now before the new owner gets here, we're gonna clean it up with some Super Clean.
I have used Super Clean for a very long time and will continue to use them because they're the best. If you want some free Super Clean, put SP24 in the comments below and Super Clean is gonna pick 2 of you guys to get some free products. This bike is just filthy. And I'm gonna show you guys exactly how perfect this stuff works.
Man, she's looking even better with that Super Clean. I posted a poll on my YouTube saying which bike should I sell, and you guys said this 848 was the #1 pick, so that is the first one we're getting rid of.
Now onto the rear. Let's remove that license plate and make that rear wheel look brand new.